So, hello everyone. In this presentation we will talk about cost, as you see it up there, how it's made. My name is Clemen, I come from FS Alpe Adria.
And my name is Sebastian, head of cost for FS Austria.
So for this year, for the cost, we have some major changes. So we've already seen questions from the teams. We already seen questions from the teams at FSG Academy. We saw that a lot of teams are a bit shocked, like a lot of new stuff, a lot of things to do. But we will go through everything today. So there are major rule changes for this year for the cost. We will talk mostly about the CCBOM. What is CCBOM? How can you handle it? How can you approach it? We will also talk some things about what is going to be different at Alpe Adria and Austria in comparison to FSG. And in the end, we will do a Q&A session. For some rules were not exactly changed, they were just moved around in the rulebook. They're not different, but we wanted to emphasize them because a lot of teams do not have cars prepared for the judging. Mostly at the competitions where the judging is done in the pits, the teams are still assembling the car, they're still working on the car, and it is impossible to do the whole judging process, especially for the boom. So this rule and also this one is really important, and as we will see later, there will be bigger consequences this year if the teams are not prepared. But the other things that will change is changed bill of material systems. We will go through all the major changes, but let's start with this. So the division of the systems in the car changed a bit for this year. This is to make it a bit easier for the EV teams and also to keep in mind the CV teams. So the engine and drivetrain system was divided a bit. So engine and tractor system will get their own category, and the drivetrain will go into its separate category. And also for the low voltage system, it is a bit clarified which part of the low voltage system do we talk about. Regarding this, there was already one question on Slido that was asked. So if the engine and drivetrain has been split into systems, how do we decide which part goes to which system? Our answer is it's the same for what have you been doing so far. So if you have a part and you're not sure where it goes, first thing you look in the online boom tool on the FSG website. There you will have for different systems list of parts, and it will determine it for you where that part goes. If it's not there, if it's not clear, it is totally up to you. So you get to decide in which system that part or assembly goes. But try to keep it simple, try to make it make sense, because it will have to be logical, and you may be asked what is your thinking behind, why did you put that part in that system. But our advice as also a judge is show us what you know. So don't try to hide systems in the different systems. If you have the possibility, show us what you know, put everything and show it to us.
Okay, then let's move on for further changes. One of the biggest ones, which will impact maybe the teams the most, is the increased penalty for using newer cost report documents, because last year, especially in FSA, we had an issue that in the uploaded documents you have a timestamp which is before the deadline, and then you are showing us documents which are after the deadline. According to the FSG rules last year, I think you got deducted, I don't know, 5 points or something. Now, if you're using newer cost report documents, you will basically get 0. That's it. We will not judge you for the bomb. We will just go on. Done. That's it. So please take care to use exactly those documents what you uploaded, and nothing like newer ones or different ones whatsoever. If the timestamp is different, we will basically just use 0 points and that's it. And now the most crucial one for you, I think, for the work perspective is that the D bomb and the C bomb are gone and a new bomb is included, the costed carbonized bomb. So in the end, the D bomb is replaced completely, it's gone. The C bomb is not gone, but it's getting additional column, which is the CO2. But why? The reason behind is that the overall term or the long-term goal of at least the European Union, also from other major industrial nations worldwide, is to reduce the CO2 emissions. And if you want to reduce CO2 emissions, you have to know what are my emissions overall. So also this new Green Deal from the European Union is funding a lot of different projects. So you get a lot of money if you are doing green technology, or at least what is considered green. So you have a lot of different national programs, European programs, where you get money if you are becoming more green or if you are doing something differently. So the CCBOM the costed is still the same, costed bill of material, and there is now the carbonized as well. So there will be, from the structural point of view of the bomb, still the same. So you have a column for the costs itself, like it costs 6030 or 2469. And there will be a new column where you put in your CO2 equivalents. The CO2 equivalents overall are, of course, you have not only CO2, you have methane gases or other gases as well, but they can be calculated into CO2 equivalents to make it even for all the teams. And as you see, the D bomb and the C bomb are now gone, and you have the bomb, the old bomb, what we already know, with all the different systems, and the CC bomb with only one system. Could be the steering system this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. What to include? If you already followed the FSG Academy, it's cradle to gate. So from the beginning to until the part reaches the endpoint, which is most probably your car. So including the raw material, where is the raw material coming from? Maybe aluminum, steel, whatsoever is coming from China, or you have a local supplier, it depends where you're from. So how much CO2 is getting produced per kilogram, per ton, whatsoever, on the raw material? Where you get those numbers from, it's up to you. So either you call different companies, or you have Google, you have scientific papers, you have company announcements, whatsoever. Then, of course, those raw material has to come from point A to point B. Most probably it will be ending up in a different point where you are currently located. So maybe in Germany or in Austria, it's somewhere and then post-processed, like cutting into the different lengths, what you need. Then it's getting transported to your workshop as well. Maybe it will be then outsourced to a different supplier for machining as well. Then you have additional transport costs, or you machine it by yourself. What you include in your machining, same thing, up to you. If you consider everything like electricity, lights, lubricants, then the overall power consumption of the machine, if it's in idle, if it's in programming, if it's in real machining, if it's just standing there and waiting for something else to happen. It depends how you include everything. And as we already saw in the CBOM in the very early stages in 2017, 2018, in the first few years, we were a little bit, we were not expecting so much, but we were surprised. And then it got better over years. So this is a starting point, and then we will see where we end up in the next years. And assembly overhead costs as well. What kind of overhead costs do we include? It's in the end the same thing as in the current CBOM. Some teams are implementing already or having overhead costs what we were not expecting. Some teams were basically just scratching on the surface. CBOM sources, there is the ISO 14064, then the GHG protocol, and what Clement found out is that in the FS4A UK from 2009 to 2016, there was already something considering the CO2 emissions of your cost report as well. So maybe if your team already participated back then in a UK competition, you can search through your old documents. And of course, Google. Any kind of scientific papers, any articles, whatever. And the thing is, as long as you can, of course, you can find a scientific paper saying 1 kilogram of aluminum out of China produces 100 kilogram of CO2 emissions or 1 ton of CO2 emissions, then you have to justify, okay, whom or which paper do you trust more? As long as you justify your thoughts, should be fine. We will not pinpoint you down like, okay, but we know that 1 kilogram of aluminum is exactly X kilogram of CO2 equivalents. Of course, it's depending on the country, on the company, on the transportation systems, on everything. As long as you are explaining your thoughts and back up your thoughts with some kind of numbers, should be fine. Okay. Then let's hand over back to Clement.
Yeah, so we know that it's not going to be simple for you, but this is Formula Student. We want to give you a challenge, and we want to challenge also the teams that might rely already very much on previous year's teams' work, where they just update whatever they have. So here, we are really going to start from zero, at least for the calculations of emissions. And that means that everybody will be on the same ground. So when the first edition of the FSG rules came out and it was announced, then everybody started working with that at the same time. It will be really interesting to see what you will come up with, because we know that not all the teams are going to have the same level of detail, the same approach, and also the same sources. But we will see what will happen. And of course, next year and every subsequent year, it will be much easier because you will already have a basis you are working on. Maybe you can take it as a bit of a bad luck that this generation of people working on a cost report will have to do this. We know it's a lot of work, but I think
still easier than 2015.
Yeah. But yeah, next year it will be easier. Every year it will be easier because you will just add to the basis that you will have, which is a good maybe point in your history of Formula Student, because it's a huge jump that you maybe try to get to the next level and maybe start everything from zero, the whole system in your team. Who knows? And of course, the judges that will judge you this year, they will be informed. They will know that this is a thing that the teams were tasked for the first time. They will, depending on the competition, they will adapt the judging. But the important thing is that all the teams will be judged on the same level. So we will see what you come up with. One of the advices from the judges, from us, is that you plan in advance, plan well. Some teams don't do this, but really the first thing in the season you should complete is the cost explanation file, because with that file you then create the whole CCBOM, and you take that as a basis. And that means that you can plan in advance in what detail you will go in the CBOM and also in the emissions calculation. So you don't lose too much time working in a lot of details, like in starting with some parts, and then you find out it's already June, and then you rush it till the end of the season. Try to prepare, work in advance in how much detail you will go, and then stick to it. So you don't end up with hills and valleys, but across the whole cost report, whatever the thing judges ask you to show, it's done to the same detail. Because it does happen that we ask, for example, explain us how do you calculated this part, and then the team says, for that exact part, we don't have it done so good, but can I show you a different part? Yeah, that doesn't work like that. Maybe as a tip, if you're a small team, if you're just starting, if the whole cost division of your team is just 2 people, maybe focus first on largest contributors, so you get the rough numbers correct. Don't focus on 0.05 grams for a piece of aluminium. Start with a good basis and then continue on, maybe next year's. Some general tips, as I said, make plans in advance. You should be already working on for quite a while on your cost explanation file on the day the rules basically came out. A good tip for you for the supporting material, big part of the largest part of the supporting material are technical drawings. Technical drawings shouldn't just be made for the cost report. Technical drawings are made for all the parts that you design. You have to make technical drawings anyway when you put them into production. This is how it's done in the industry. Don't just send STP files to your sponsor to have them made, because that's not how you learn, and it will just make double the work. And in the end, you will have to create like 50 technical drawings just for the cost report, if instead you could just do it throughout the year. Again, I know it's hard. Try to get the whole team involved. The team members that work on a system on the car know that system the best, know their parts the best. And also, please don't force the economics people to learn about manufacturing processes. Work together, so the total sum of work will be the least required. Practice looking up parts in the documents. That should be easy if you made them. With large teams, it can be difficult because the sections are then grouped together. So our advice is that get familiar with the documents. Don't open them up the first time at the judging, at the competition. Get familiar. If you want to find something, design the document so it can be found fast. And just a general tip, not for cost, also for business, for design, get feedback from the judges. It helps a lot. Even if you think you've done perfectly, listen to the feedback. You can still find an improvement. We also listen to the judges. We asked some of the judges if they want to give any tips for you. Try to make the documents understandable to someone who opens it up on their computer before he even sees the car or before he even talks to you. All the documents should provide enough information to a judge so he knows what he's looking at, and to assess if the cost report has been done correctly. Don't avoid extra work if it means that you can show what you can do. Try to be complete. Think of everything that attributes to the costs. Way to think of it, if a team asks, yeah, should this be included in the CBOM? Should that be included in the CBOM? If you think of it, should it be added, you can add it. And also good presentation, dress up nicely, present the team, present the car, and yeah. Oh, okay. Is this the next slide? It is.
Yep.
There will be some changes from the FSG rulebook at FS Alpe Adria. FSG mentioned that in their handbook they will add a limit to the cost explanation file and the supporting material. Nothing will change here for Alpe Adria. We will have no limits for the documents. For the non-CCBOM systems, for the cost supporting material, our current plan is that we will only require drawings for made parts. So the parts that are not bought, that are not standard, they should have technical drawings for the whole car, because you should already have them, because you've made the car. And for the CCBOM items, as usual, drawings, exploded view, pictures of the vehicle if the part is not visible, and anything that helps to understand the bill of materials. The other thing at Alpe Adria, there will be no cost event finals, and as usual, the real case will be published on the first day of the competition, and then, of course, you will have a limited time. All the teams will have a limited time to come up with a solution, and of course, the real case will be appropriate, so it can be done in a short amount of time with not a lot of resources, maybe even without internet. Mostly your knowledge. In general, look out for the handbook. It will come out before the quizzes. All the changes, any other changes from the FSG rulebook, handbook, will be in our handbook.
Yeah, for FSA versus FSG, the differences. Overall, the structure of the cost report is similar, but not the same. So the CCBOM discussion will be similar to FSG. Also, the cost understanding part, at least the naming is the same, but our cost understanding, I will come to that later, how we will do the cost understanding, and we don't have any real case. So we don't care about this real case, so we scrap the third part of FSG. Yeah, as you saw, no real case. The scoring is format and accuracy of the documents, 4 points. We included in the handbook one specific thing, that the structure of, or the namings of the documents what you upload are in a specific order, and what has to be included and what doesn't have to be included. If it's not included, maybe there will be points deducted if you don't follow the rules in the handbook. Then knowledge of documents and vehicle. This will be assessed during the cost report itself. If it takes longer to find something, either it's in the BOM or in the CCBOM, in the supporting material whatsoever, we already have a feeling how well you know your documents. That's what Clemens said, train and know your documents, what you are uploading. The BOM discussion, including CCBOM, the normal BOM, will be 40 points and the cost understanding 50 points. So in total, if I haven't miscalculated, it will be 100 points. Same thing for FSA as for Alpe Adria, no page limit for the cost explanation files and also for the supporting material. So if you upload 20 pages, if you upload 40 pages, we don't care, as long as you know what you're uploading and you have an overview where is what. Because if you upload 1,000 pages and you take 5 minutes to find one specific explanation file, it will be a nightmare. So it's up to you. If you feel that 10 pages is enough, 10 pages is also enough. There is no upper or lower boundary. Regarding the finals, we will have an unlimited number of finalists. I don't know if FSG already took it over. Can't remember now, because FSG had, I think, 5 finalists, and we then change that to unlimited number of finalists. This will be the same as in the last years in FSA. So it can be from 0 up to everyone in the end. The best non-finalist will get the points they have before the finals. So when we discuss the scoring and then we come to the conclusion that the best, 6 teams will get to the finals, for example now for the EVs, the 7th team will get exactly the points what they have during our discussion. The finalist scoring will be then, because it can be that the sixth position will become the best team or vice versa. So the lowest score of the finalists will be bigger than the best non-finalist. And the highest score will be, of course, 100. So if, for example, the best non-finalist has 90 points, the finalists will be somewhere between 90.1 up to 100. Can be everything. There will be no car in the finals, as in the last year as well, and maximum of 10 people. So from your team, if you're coming alone or with 10 people, both will be fine. Something in between. So compared to FSG, I think FSG said that the best non-finalist will be, only get 80 points. We will scrap that one as well. Then cost understanding. The cost understanding in FSA. The overall cost event will look like we come to your booth, then we will make a short introduction of ourselves. Then we will ask you about the BOM, CCBOM for a specific time. Let's call it like that. And then we have a catalog with questions. I'm not saying how many questions, but there are a few of them. And we will ask 2 questions each team. Can be the same or can be different, doesn't matter. And then you will have 5 minutes of preparation time with your whole team. So it depends when your whole team is standing at the cost event as well, then you have the whole team helping you. If you are coming with 5 people, then you only have 5 people as well. You can come up with everything. So you can use already prepared presentation slides, posters, whatsoever, or you can come up with everything what you can imagine. And then you have 20 minutes presentation time, maximum. If it's less, and we are fine with what we heard in the first 10 minutes, it's fine. But after 20 minutes, there will be a hard cut, and we will leave your booth. Those questions are not necessarily connected to FSG or to from a student. So can be everything. Can be from draw me a layout of a full production line or whatever. So it's focusing now also a little bit more on CO2 emissions, CO2 reductions. You can call your previous cost report members of your team and ask them what they were asked. The questions in the finals will be different. So there will be nothing like, okay, this team got already a question A from within the cost understanding, and then this specific question A will be asked in the finals as well. This will not happen. So, Q&A from the Slido. Is the carbon footprint of each component required to be evaluated in the CCBOM as well, or just in the cost and emissions explanation file? Is the template on the FSG website going to be updated accordingly? What I heard from the FSG Academy, from Hannah, that I'm not sure, I think FS China is still using the old FSG tool. That's why they haven't updated it yet. Haven't checked by myself, but maybe it will be updated or is already updated. So in the end, there will be a new template at the FSG tool to include also the CO2 equivalents in there. And in the end, the carbon footprint of each component has to be evaluated and calculated. Because in the end, it's in the same structure as in the CBOM. You calculate it once for a drilling machine, the costs, then for a normal worker, the overhead costs, and for the material, the costs. And it will be the same as in the carbon or in the CO2 equivalence calculation. If you're using the aluminum, there will be a formula, or you come up with the CO2 equivalent per kilogram, and then you just calculate how much mass you need for a specific part. So in the end, for every part can be or should be the answer. Okay, see question and answers. If we have something in the Slido.
First, if we have any in the audience, maybe questions. We have some in the Slido, yeah. Engine and drivetrain we talked about. Will the supporting material file be limited to 20 pages as well to lift some workload with the addition to the CCBOM? No. Should transportation/testing of the assembled vehicle be part of the CCBOM as transport is required to be included?
As the testing is not part of your whole assembly and manufacturing process, then no. Because otherwise, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, you also don't include fuel for testing, and so the answer is no. How many pages are ideal for the supporting material and the file explaining costs and emissions? How many pages are ideal? It's totally up to you. Like we want to see the perfect amount of pages, but it depends on what you write in. The perfect amount could be 2 pages or 45. It's totally up to you. The information must be presentable. When you open the document, you should know what you're looking at. And should include all the needed information for a judge to see how you achieved the calculation, how you did the calculations. Again, we don't concentrate on actual numbers in the end. What we want to see is how you did the calculation, how you got to those numbers. Do we have any other questions?
Let's see if we updated it. Looks like no. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
So.
Okay, thank you very much, Clement and Sebastian. Round of applause for them.
Yeah.